Hey guys, it's Chelsea and happy Friday. So today we're gonna talk about the birds and the bees.
Birds and the bees? Like, what about the birds and the bees?
Well kids, we're gonna talk about where babies come from.
Babies? Don't they just come from, like, the store?
No kids, not the store. The stork is what you're thinking of.
Isn't that, like, the same thing?
Kind of, but let's really talk about where babies really come from. Okay? Are you guys ready? Are you really listening? I mean, really listening with your ears?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So when a mommy and a daddy really love each other. Okay. Enough of that. But seriously, let's talk about babies. I always get this question. This one. Right here. This one. You ready for it? Just wait for it. So, when are you gonna have another baby? Well, let me tell you when. When God decides that it's gonna come out of your vagina, then I'll have another baby. So, we get this question a lot because Cameron is almost 2, and everybody wants to know when we're going to have another baby. But I feel like sometimes I should explain why we're not having another baby anytime soon or potentially ever. So, Tom and I got married in July of 2013. We were 19 when we got married, and the following year we decided that we were going to try to start a family. We wanted to try to start a family, and so that was in January of 2014. So we completely stopped all kinds of birth control, stopped doing everything like that, and decided that, you know, if it happened, it happened. So we had kind of like a plan, I guess, well, not really like a plan, but we decided if we were going to have a baby, we wanted to get pregnant before the end of June of 2014, because in April 2015 was my 21st birthday, and I really didn't want to be pregnant on my 21st birthday. I know, kind of selfish. So we decided that if it didn't happen by June of 2014, then we were just going to be completely done trying, and we would try again after I turned 21 and after Tom turned 21. We tried from January of 2014 to June of 2014 with no luck whatsoever. We kept getting negative tests. We were like, okay, you know, maybe it's just not right to have a baby right now. So let's just stop. Well, we stopped in the middle of June 2014, and in the beginning of July 2014, we got that positive pregnancy test. So by getting this positive pregnancy test in July meant that we had conceived in June, which was the last month we were going to try for a baby. Which was just, it was really weird for us. We're like, what? The very last month we're going to attempt for a child. I mean, we weren't even really trying that month. Like, legitimately, we were not trying whatsoever to have a baby that month. We're like, this isn't going to happen. We're just going to wait and see what happens. Well, we ended up getting the positive test in July, which meant that the baby would be born or due in March, which was the month prior to my 21st birthday. So, we were really ecstatic and happy. We shared it with my parents first, and then we shared it with Tom's parents a couple weeks later. Maybe about 2 weeks later, we shared it with them, and then I got an ultrasound at 4 weeks. We really just weren't sure, like, did we really conceive in June, or was it maybe sooner than that, and I just, you know, we just didn't know. And at that time in July, I was about 5 weeks along when they did the ultrasound, so we couldn't see a heartbeat yet. So we went back in August, and I was about 10 weeks along, and we were able to see a little baby heartbeat. It was really exciting. So then began our journey of our pregnancy with Cameron. So overall, the very first 10 weeks was fine. I mean, I had some morning sickness, wasn't too bad, and then all of a sudden around the 10th week or so, I got really bad morning sickness, and this lasted until the 20th or 21st week, give or take. And I was miserable. I was working a full-time job as a medical assistant in a doctor's office, and I was absolutely miserable. And at this time, too, when this started, it was kind of right prior, because I was almost 11 weeks, I guess, when we had our ultrasound. And I was trying to conceal it from my coworkers at work. I didn't want to tell anybody until we had actually seen the ultrasound and seen a heartbeat and confirmed that everything was healthy and fine with the baby. So once I hit around the 20-week mark, we found out that our baby was going to be Cameron. He was going to be a little boy, and we were very excited. Tom was super ecstatic because he knew it was going to be a boy. There was no doubt in his mind. He knew it was a boy. At that point, the only thing I really had wrong was morning sickness, and I mean, it was miserable. It was horrible. Otherwise, throughout the pregnancy, I really had a smooth pregnancy up until about 21, 22 weeks. Then I started developing this pubic pain, like this pubic bone pain, and I was like, what is this? Like, why do I hurt? And you know, everybody was like, oh, it's just the way that the baby's sitting. Well, no, okay, my child is not that huge yet. It cannot be that. So we went to the doctor, and I talked to my doctor, and I was like, you know, something's just not right. Something doesn't feel right. I don't know if it's just like around ligament pains, and it's just really, you know, going into my groin. Just something doesn't feel right. I was diagnosed with symphysis pubis dysfunction. I think that's the order it goes in, symphysis pubis dysfunction. And so, which meant that mine was so severe that my pubic bone was literally separating from the pressure, because there's like a little like ligaments and joints, and then like, you know, your like bone that holds like your two like hips and your pelvis together, and that was separating for me. And so in return of that, I was having a hard time walking. I was having a hard time going up and down stairs. We lived in an apartment at the time. You know, everything was just really, really difficult. So I talked to my boss at the time, and I kind of let her know, like, you know, I either need to work part-time or something has to change because I'm just not able to work a full-time day, because I was like, I was in tears by the end of the day because I was hurting so bad. And so, unfortunately, my boss was not very understanding, and because we were under 20 employees, I think we had like 19 employees, they did not offer Family Medical Leave Act, FMLA, they didn't offer anything like that, so they had to let me go, unfortunately. So I lost my job in December of 2014 because I had to take early maternity leave. So around my, I want to say like my 28th week or so, I started to develop preeclampsia really, really severely. I was swelling all over the place. I had blood pressure that was through the roof. And why it was such a big deal for us, though, was because my blood pressure was usually like 80 over 40, 80 over 70, or, you know, 90 over 70. So, you know, it was really low. I always had really, really low blood pressure. I mean, people take my blood pressure and they're like, I need to do it again because I don't think I got a right reading. I'm like, no, you probably did. I'm like partially dead. It's okay. So they were really concerned about it, and so we went ahead and did some of the blood work. We did the 24-hour urine. We did everything, the protein urine stuff. I was triaged multiple times between January to February in and out of the hospital just because I wasn't feeling well. I was having vision changes, everything. So I was fully diagnosed with preeclampsia around 28, 29 weeks. So we went in for my 37-week appointment. I just barely turned 37 weeks when I went in for this appointment, and my blood pressure was 160 over 110. And so me and my doctor had already previously talked about, you know, we would probably potentially have to go ahead and induce labor early. He was going to have to probably come early. We wanted to try to wait till 38 weeks, but when I went for that appointment, my blood pressure was so high, she's like, you know what, let's just get him out because I don't want to wait any longer. I don't want any more complications or issues. Let's just go ahead and take him out. So we went ahead and we induced. I called Tom because I just dropped him off at work. I called Tom and I was like, they're going to induce me. I need to come pick you up. You know, we have to go home, we have to grab our bags, and I need to come back to the hospital by 6. So we checked in on February 25th at 6 o'clock at night. They started the induction process that night. I did not plan to be induced. That was not my birthing plan. I know birthing plans never go the way that they're supposed to, but that wasn't part of my plan. My plan was not to be induced. We wanted to do a natural labor, not because I'm worried about drugs or anything. I work in the medical field. I know everything. I know risks. I know all of that stuff. My thing was, I'm really, really terrified of needles, and so I was willing to try anything and do anything to avoid an epidural. My birthing plan was I was gonna, you know, get there, be in labor, sit in a hot bath, you know, labor through in the warm water, get out, have cam, and be done. That was my birthing plan, and that wasn't how it went. They induced me that Wednesday night. Thursday afternoon, my parents came to visit me. I think they got there about 10, and at noon, I was sitting on like one of those birthing balls, and I was rolling back and forth, you know, and I was like, okay, this isn't working, like nothing is comforting my pain. Well, as soon as I stood up, my water broke, and my parents were both sitting there, and my dad was like, did that really just happen? Well, then a shift change in nurses happened, and I got a very, very horrible nurse, and she was coming in at least every 15 minutes and turning up the Pitocin. She's like, you're not going into labor fast enough. We need to really get this kicked up, get this going. We need to get this baby out. Well, by her doing this, I got in the hot water bath around 3 because my contractions were getting pretty strong and pretty, long. And so I got in the bath, and all of a sudden my contractions were getting worse and worse and worse. And finally I told Tom, I was like, you gotta go get someone. And he's like, no, baby, it's fine, just, breathe through it, blah, blah. And I was like, no, you have to go get someone because blood is coming out of my IV. And he was like, oh, okay, I'll go get someone for you. And I was like, yeah, you better, because I don't know what's wrong. And so, that was at about 4 by the time I sat in the bath for about an hour, and it didn't really do anything. And so, they came in and they asked me what I wanted to do, if I wanted to do an epidural at 4:30, and I was like, no, I don't want an epidural yet. I'm going to fight through it. I'm going to keep going. I was like, give me some fentanyl. And yes, I understand people out there are going to be judgmental about that I just said that I asked them to give me drugs during my labor as far as fentanyl goes. But I previously worked in a pain industry. I worked in a pain clinic. I do know all about the medication, and I had done a lot of research on it, and I had talked with my doctor about this potentially being part of my birthing plan if I could not handle the labor. I was fully aware of everything. They were only allowed to give me 2 doses of it, and the 2 doses only lasted about 15 minutes, really, in my intense labor that I was having. I am aware, before all of you guys start hating on me, I was fully under the understanding of how this medication was going to work, and Cameron came out perfectly fine. This medication did not harm him or affect him in any way, shape, or form. 8 o'clock rolled around, and we got a new nurse. And this nurse was hardcore. She was actually one of the best nurses I think I ever had when I was there. She was very hardcore, and she said, you know what, Chelsea? These are your options. You are still 3 centimeters. You've been 3 centimeters since you got here on Wednesday. We are going to roll in a Friday here pretty soon. This is your choice. You can go ahead and you can get the epidural and, labor through and let's get this baby out. Or you can go ahead and we'll just take you in and have a C-section right here, right now. Because she goes, you're not dilating. And as long as you're in pain, you're not going to dilate. So what do you want to do, Chelsea? What would you like to do? And I said, okay, well, I guess let's go ahead and do the epidural because I do not want to have a C-section right now, and I'm in a lot of pain, and I don't think I can go any longer. So she came in and they gave the epidural at about 8:15. They came back 15 minutes later, 8:30, to check to see if I was dilated, because once again, like I said, I had only been 3 centimeters the entire freaking time. When they came back in and they checked me, I was a 9. In 15 minutes after getting the epidural, I relaxed so much, I was a 9. So they called the doctor. They said, you know what, we're going to have the doctor come in at midnight, and we're going to go ahead and try to have a baby around that time. I said, that's cool, great. 11:30, midnight rolled around, and I started to spike a fever. My blood pressure was still pretty high. I was spiking a fever, and Cam's heart rates were fluctuating back and forth. Nothing, it wasn't anything like life-threatening at that precise moment, but it could have led into something that way. We started pushing at 1 o'clock. Well, the doctor was like, Chelsea, you're having contractions, every 30 seconds. Can you feel anything? And I was like, I can't feel anything. I can't feel anything. She goes, well, Chelsea, I need you to be able to feel something. She goes, you can't push if you can't feel the contractions. In my mind, I'm thinking, I don't want to feel the contractions, lady. Are you crazy? So they had to have the anesthesiologist come back in and turn down the epidural because it was up too high. Even with them turning it down, though, I still was unable to feel any contractions. I was really just watching the monitor along with Tom, and Tom would tell me when to push, so I kind of had an idea. We started pushing at 1, and at 1:47, Cam was born. Afterwards, it was fine. My after delivery, everything went well. I got 2 stitches. Everything was great. Cameron was beautiful. He was 7 pounds, 3 ounces, 20.5 inches long. He was the perfect child, and for being 3 weeks early, he was a great weight. I could have imagined what he would have been if I had waited. So after labor and everything, it was great. Everything was wonderful. We took Cameron home. I had him on a Friday. We took him home Saturday night, and he was the greatest baby. He still is a great kid. He has his moments. We're definitely in the terrible 2s right now. But Cameron was an amazing baby. He slept through the night. Basically, about a month after he was born, he started sleeping through the night and has always slept through the night. We've never really had an issue unless he's been sick or something, and then, he kind of wakes up. When are you guys gonna have another baby? And to this, my response, once again, is it coming out of your vagina? Because if that's the case, then we will definitely have another baby. Understand, my labor and my pregnancy story is not horrific. There are people out there who have horrific pregnancies and horrific, labor and delivery stories. I totally get that. But for me, this was horrific enough. And the chance of me developing preeclampsia, lands between 50-50. The chance of me having the symphysis pubis dysfunction is 100%. It will be worse than it was the first time. The chances of, everything that we went through happening again could potentially happen. And I just don't want to do that. I don't want to live through that again because it was very, very difficult on Tom and I, and on my health. And Tom and I have sat down, we've talked about this a lot. Tom would like another child. He's very open about that. And I do not want another child. I'm very open about that. I love my child. I would definitely go through it all again to have Cameron, but to do it a second go around, I'm not quite sure I'm strong enough to do that. So, will we have another child? I don't know. I don't want to say yes because I'm still saying no. In my mind, I am still saying no. In Tom's mind, the option is still there. So, at this current time though, Cameron is almost 2. It's almost been 2 years since I was pregnant last. And I'm very content with just Cam. And I always fear. I fear because everybody's like, every pregnancy is different. That is true. Every pregnancy is different. What if this next one's worse? Will my opinions change on this one day? Potentially. I might change my mind and I might want, that fresh, cute little baby smell again in my home. Do I currently? No. Not currently, not right now, maybe not ever. But I am still taking applications. If you would like to have a baby for me, come out of your vagina. You're more than welcome to. I accept applications in the comments down below. And I'm sorry, I really hope this video did not offend anybody by my language or my speaking. I am not a very offensive person ever, but this is really how I feel about this topic. I just feel like it's none of your damn business if a baby's coming out of my vagina anytime soon. So, but anyways, just keep tuned, just keep watching. We are going to have some good videos coming out, I promise you. And we're still going to keep doing the vlogs. I know this was not really a vlog today, but I felt like this was something fun to add to our channel because this is a family-based channel. We do vlog about our family and we, talk about our family. So I thought this was important. So I thought I'd share this with you. Alrighty guys, hope you have a fun Friday and I will see you on Monday. Maybe I'll add in some booms there. See you kids. Kids, did you learn anything today?
Yeah, we learned how stupid you really are when you turn the camera on. It's literally like verbal diarrhea coming out of your freaking mouth.
Aw, Make sure you like and subscribe to these videos. Comment down below what kind of videos you'd want to see next. Please no hating. No hating, man. I can't handle it. My heart can't take it.